In this video, we are going to be showing you how to install our golf room acoustic panels. Our acoustic tiles are a good lower cost option for padding the walls and ceiling of your golf room as opposed to something like our built-in wall tiles. These are more customizable, easy to cut down to fit your particular space. For installation, all you have to do is peel off this backing material, which exposes an adhesive layer. You can line it up to where you want this placed on your wall and stick it down. It's really simple to do. You can see the size. They're going to come in a pack of 25. Each tile is going to be about 2 feet by 2 feet. And you can see the thickness is going to be somewhere around 1/4 of an inch thick. This is one of 3 options we have for protecting your walls. The other one we have would be our carpet panels, which are going to be a much thinner material. And then, like I mentioned before, our panels that we have for our built-in kit, which are going to be thicker, but also a little more complicated to install. We are going to be mounting our tiles on the right wall of our built-in enclosure here. Our first step that we're going to do is take some of our tiles, lay them out on the floor, kind of get a gauge for how many we're going to need for the depth of the space. We recommend you do that too, maybe measure your space beforehand and kind of get a good layout for what's going to work for a pattern for your area. So our space, we have a wall that comes to an end right here. So what we're going to do is start laying these tiles out. Just to, again, get an idea of what we need. We're going to try to line that tile up with the edge of the wall as best as we can and go from there. Just going down, putting these in place, put them right up against each other. That'll give us a general idea of how many tiles we're going to need for the area. So one thing you want to pay attention to as you're doing your setup is the orientation of the tiles. Now I know they might look like it's not going to matter how you place them, but as you lay it down, how the grains are laying is going to affect how they reflect the light back towards you. So I'm not sure if you can see here, but we've got these laid out. We've got a couple of different tiles that are not oriented the same way. So what I'm going to do is kind of step back towards my hitting area and look at the tiles, and I can clearly see this first one and then the third one in are darker than the rest of the tiles. So they're reflecting light differently. So what I want to do is come in, and it's just a matter of rotating those tiles 90 degrees, and that should correct that problem. Now, if you want to go for a checkered board pattern or something like that, you can always do that. It just might take a little more time to get it all set up. Okay, so we've got, maybe about half of the wall done right now. Just a good starting point. So now we're going to show you what we did and continue along the rest of the way, just kind of showing you our process. So the first thing is we've got our center line of the wall marked approximately right there. So we're starting in the center, working our way out so that we can have the trim panels on the ends, the larger panels in the middle. We just think it makes it look a little more symmetrical. That's what we like in our space, but if you want to do something different, you can always customize it to fit what you think works best. So we've got our center line marked here with our laser level. So the first thing we're going to do is put the panel up, kind of take a step back, make sure it looks like it is oriented the right way. If I've got it turned this way, from where I'm standing, this looks a lot darker right now than the rest of the panels, so we'll just rotate it 90 degrees. That looks good. So I'm going to quick throw a mark on there so I know which side is up. Just in case I end up having to rotate this panel as I'm trying to get this adhesive back off. So we peel the backing off, double check to make sure that mark I made is facing up. And then we're going to line this up with the panels below it, make sure everything's in line with that laser level that we've got on there. I think maybe shift it over just a hair. There, I think that looks pretty good. Make sure it's nice and snug with the panel below it, and then push it into place. And there, that is another panel on the wall. So we've got this tile up. We're gonna work our way from the middle out towards the edges. First, we'll start by going back towards the screen. So once we get there, we will show you what we're doing to measure and cut our tiles. All right, so we're coming up to a corner now. We know that this is not square in here, so we have to measure to be able to cut this tile to the correct width. So it looks like this one at the top is right at 9 inches. And then the bottom, it's not too far off. It's a little bit smaller at the bottom. We'll call it like 8 and call it 7/8. So we've got a piece of leftover tile here. Put that down. So this is the top of our tile. We are going to measure over 9 inches and make our mark right there. And then we'll go down to the bottom. Measure along the bottom at 8 and I believe we said 7/8, which is right about there. Then we have our nice long straight edge. We're going to line that up with our marks. Take a nice sharp blade, and we're not going to go through the entire panel at once. We'll make a score to start. So we're just going to keep making scores along this straight edge, going a little bit deeper each time until we get all the way through. Make sure I'm not cutting myself in the knee here as I'm doing this. All right, there we go, and you can see that popped off, so we are through. All right, now we are gonna take this and bring it over to this area we just measured. We're just gonna dry fit it, make sure it all fits nice and snug, which looks like we did a pretty good job on this one. Fits in there well. So we just peel the backing off and we will stick that one into place. So we're gonna peel the backing off. Kind of careful, make sure you're not taking that adhesive layer with it as you're doing this. Make sure I've got my top. And we will now slide it into place and secure that down. There we go. So we will now come down to this end and do basically the same thing. We will measure over from the top. Looks like we are right at 9 inches. Bottom. Yeah, this is roughly square. Well, this is, I guess, off again by a little bit. This is about 8 and 7/8 here. So basically just like the one we just cut. 9 inches at the top, 8 and 7/8 at the bottom. I don't think we have any more scrap pieces that are wide enough for that. So let me grab a new one. Get it oriented, make sure we've got everything facing the same way. All right, so we made sure that we have everything oriented correctly. I'm just gonna make a mark right here so I know that's my top and I wanna be cutting from this side. And just like we did with the last one, we'll come back down here and measure over 9 inches from the top and 8 and 7/8 from the bottom. 9 inches. And 7/8 from the bottom. All right, we'll score this a few different times until we get all the way through. So you can get a little more of a trim up there. Double check. Looks like that is, oh, that's really good. And we will peel off the backing. Peel off the backing and there we go. So that row is now complete. So we are going to continue on doing that the rest of the way up. All right, so we're now to the top row of our tiles here. We've got a valance going across the top that's gonna hide the top of these tiles that we're putting up. So that's why we decided to do all of our large tiles down here, so you won't see the kind of shorter length tiles, the full thing at the top. But we're gonna cut them this size. We're gonna basically do the same thing we've been doing with the ends, just cut them vertically instead. So that is what we're gonna be working on for this last row. So as you can see, we have our acoustic tiles installed. It's all completed. It takes a little bit of effort, some measuring, some cutting, but nothing overly complicated. It's a great option if you want to do something on your walls, but have an easier installation than something like our wall panels for our built-in kits. You know, this is something that you can customize. You can make it fit to your space. If you've got lights or something like that that you need to cut around, it's a really great solution. So that is it for this video. If you have any questions on the install, please let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, we will see you in the next one.